Yeah, 1 year.
Hey guys, welcome to Campus Odds and Ends on the Holy City High Podcast Network. This is your boy Nap and Nick. I'm here along with Buchanan in the house. Thanks for joining us, Brian and Jacob out here being little bitches. Um, this is our first episode in about a month, so sorry for the delay for our fans, or small number of fans that miss us. But we are back. This is the second week of the college football rankings. This is our reaction pod to these rankings after the first week last week. We're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna read through them right quick for my listeners that are gonna listen on the audio side. College football rankings came out yesterday, Tuesday. Today's Wednesday, obviously. Had Oregon at number one, Ohio State number two, Texas at three, followed by Penn State and Indiana and BYU. Tennessee, Notre Dame, Miami, 7, 8, and 9. Alabama at 10. Ole Miss and Georgia, 5, 11, and 12. For Boise State on the outside 13. I'm not going to read through the rest of them. Some of the highlights would be South Carolina and Tulane joining the top 25 from not being ranked for the previous week. Washington State kind of sneaking out there at 18. Texas A&M dropping to 15 after a loss to South Carolina. I guess just a quick look at the rankings, Matt. What's your first, thoughts on them? Your first reaction when you first saw them?
How bad is the Big 12? Is what comes to mind instantly. I see Colorado's right there. I keep hearing about them being a dark horse to get in, and I'm like, who else is left in the Big 12? Like Kansas State, there's not a lot. So that's kind of my big surprise. Is there's no Big 12 teams. Like I figured there'd be somebody. Penn State being over Indiana is kind of a slap in the face. BYU is a fraud. We kind of discussed that. Georgia being 12. They're trying to get so many of these SEC teams in. No surprise. They try to do it every year.
They have eight SEC teams rank in the top 25 right now.
Yeah, that's not that, but I'm just saying like the 10, 11, 12.
Oh, gotcha.
They're trying to just get them right there. You got Texas A&M, who's looked, not great here lately at 15. It's like, here we go again. Here's the SEC bias just to try to get them. But that's just me as a SEC hater.
Some of it's. You definitely can nitpick, like Tennessee, for example, which I know they're going to have a chance with Georgia this weekend. But if you look at Tennessee's schedule, like I'm pulling up right now, like their best win will probably, I guess, is Alabama. So I guess it's not too bad. So then Alabama. Then their second best win would be NC State, maybe.
No, there's no way. NC State has looked garbage all year.
Exactly. Oh, I guess Florida. Actually, I'm looking through it now.
Nah.
Yeah, it would be Florida or as their second best win, unless you're gonna rate Oklahoma better than Florida.
No.
So it's like that's their second best win. So it's like, and Tennessee's, it's not like they've been blowing people out. They've been kind of looking a little mediocre.
Notre Dame at 8's funny after losing to Northern Illinois. I get they blew out Florida State last week, but
yeah, poor nose. They've been blowing out everybody since, other than that Louisville game. They also got a good win against Louisville, which just kind of carried them. I guess Navy, technically, even though Navy has lost a couple games. And also they got that win against Texas A&M to start the season, which I know Texas A&M lost, but as far as like power. So I guess they can take the loss with that a little bit.
Yeah, I just think Notre Dame's kind of overrated as well.
I personally think the same thing. I don't think they're that good. I think they kind of just benefit of playing, 6 ACC teams, and the ACC is not even that good this year.
Yeah.
I guess here's my question for you then. Looking at this, I know we still got some games to play out. I guess I got a couple questions. First question would be, how many teams do you think the SEC would get in to the playoff?
4, 5. 4 or 5.
I was thinking 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Depends how it plays out, obviously. I was thinking 5 because some of that's because the Big Ten is kind of a little bit down, other than like what, because the Big Ten's probably get at least
I
3
think
4.
Texas A&M's out.
But Texas, well, unless they beat Texas.
Okay, then Texas is out.
Okay.
So I think they're going to kind of eliminate some of themselves. So
You think they'll drop Texas out there?
I don't think so. With the 12 team, you're going to get a group of 5 team, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get
probably Boise State at the point right now.
You get Boise State if they do what they need to do, who's outside of the top 12 currently.
Yeah.
So then you have 11. Okay. ACC, you'll get 1 in as of right now.
As of right now. Let's call Miami.
Yeah. Let's just say Miami gets in. Well, then you have the Big 12 who's going to get 1 in. Then you're down to 9. Oregon's in. Ohio State is in. It looks like Penn State's going to get in because they don't have to go to the Big 12 or Big 10 championship. So they're going to just all right in.
Yeah.
Indiana might have 1 loss to Ohio State, 11-1. You going to keep them out? Nope. Have they got any big wins? Nope. There's 4. Then you have BYU as well, who maybe BYU's Big 12, yeah?
Yeah. So BYU
BYU the Big 12. Then you have Notre Dame, who's also an independent, could be in. So now you're at an independent, a Big 12, an ACC, and the group of 5.
Yeah, so that's what,
so
7?
That's 4. Now you've got 8 spots: Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, most likely Indiana. That's why I think you're down to 4.
See, I think Indiana's will be out, even at 11-1.
11-1 is going to be hard to get them out,
unless they probably need some help if some teams lose. I think a lot of that's going to depend on how they look against Ohio State.
Yeah.
In that game, like if it's a close game, last second field goal, or maybe a 1-score game.
I think 10-point game. I think a 2-score game they're still in.
Even a 2-score game? Well,
yeah.
is that game on the road or?
I don't remember.
I'm looking right now.
But Ole Miss. Yeah. Or so Georgia and Tennessee. I think one of them is eliminated this week.
That's elimination. Well, that's elimination game for Georgia.
If Georgia loses, they're done.
They're done. Yeah. Tennessee still has. You see, look at their schedule.
Vandy and
UTEP. So, but I still think if Tennessee doesn't win that game, I don't know how much that win against Alabama. Like that, I don't know how much that win of Alabama is going to carry them. Because like I was saying earlier, like they beat Alabama, then their second best win if they lose to Georgia is arguably Florida. Who's a mid-tier, who's 4-5 right now.
I think they get 4 in. I don't think Indiana gets thrown from the 5 seed.
You know what the 5th team I think is going to be? And you're not going to like this. I think it could be possibly South Carolina.
They'd have to show out.
Yeah, they would need some help too. But like if they beat Missouri, that's 2 wins against 2 top 25 teams, including top.
Missouri will be out of the top 25.
Yeah, Missouri would be out of the top 25, but at the time they play, they would be. Which is still crazy to me because this is what some of the qualms I have this rankings. Where so South Carolina is ranked 1. It's ranked above LSU, who I think is eliminated out of the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they're gone.
Like they're done. But LSU beat them head to head, but yet they're 1 ranking behind South Carolina. Yeah, with a better conference record too. Now, I think this is where the odd test and you actually watch these games. I think some people get the benefit of the doubt that like Lenore Stellers, which is South Carolina's quarterback, got hurt during that game near the end. So they're going to factor that in the result, and especially the result with Ole Miss because it was not the same. So that's why that game ended up a blowout. And South Carolina's kind of hot right now.
But if you're up 17-0 and your bread and butter is your defense, there's no way LSU should have a shot to come back, no matter who your quarterback is.
Yeah, but they were the dog.
So here's my question, Nick.
Okay.
9-3. Let's just 9-3 Carolina. Carolina wins out. Missouri,
That's 2 wins.
Wofford,
Missouri and Clemson.
Clemson.
If Clemson like stays like the path and doesn't trip
Well,
up.
Clemson would fall out of the top 25.
Oh yeah. I don't think it'll fall too far. I think it'd be either at right at 25 or like 26, 27. Depends how the game goes, obviously.
And 9-3 Carolina, or 11-1 Indiana with the loss by 10 at Ohio State.
South Carolina at 9-3.
Because you're a Carolina fan.
No, not just that though. Because if you look at the metrics of Indiana's schedule, like I think Indiana has their strength of schedule is like 100th.
Yep.
And stuff. So you factor that, and I also this is the crazy thing I took. I actually took a look at the old BCS rankings, Sega rankings, which I know some people hate, but to me, I always thought they actually kind of got it right more often than they got it wrong. They got South Carolina at number 10 in those rankings. Now, don't get me wrong, and I do agree with you. I think a lot of these rankings do have SEC bias. Like for example, I still don't know how Missouri is still ranked in the top 25. I know they're 7-2, but in the 2 ranked games they played, they have lost by a combined score of 75-10.
Yeah, and if you watched any of that game last week against Oklahoma, Oklahoma just gave them that game. Like the last 2 minutes of the game, just handed it to them. Oklahoma's terrible somehow, that bad.
And it's also the same way I felt about Penn State. Like Penn State is going to get in without really proving anything of who they really are. Like, don't get me wrong, they have beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But when you go with the lead teams like that, lost to Ohio State, which looks on the scoreboard, you look at 2013 is the final score of that game. But what's not factoring that is that Penn State scored a touchdown off a pick 6, which means they only scored, 6 points?
Yeah, a couple field goals, man.
Like a couple of field goals, like stuff. But now they're going to play Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland, and they're not going to play in the Big Ten championship unless actually, I don't really see a way of them playing because it's going to be Indiana or Ohio State taking on Oregon. So it's like, I mean, this is like kind of the problem with people that are against the college football playoff expanding. This is kind of making their points a little bit. I'm saying like there's no real consequence of losing in the bigger games because regardless, there's some consequence because you're gonna miss out on the first bye or maybe hosting a home game.
I'd like that. I'd rather host the home game, to be honest.
Didn't have the bye?
Yes. I know that's a weird thing to say, but if you look at the teams that have played this year, look at how bad teams have played after having a bye. And you're already a couple weeks out, too, now.
Yeah, if you play the bye, you're not playing until
already having a couple weeks of a bye. You know, you've had conference championship. And then you have the Army-Navy game the week after that. And then you'll get into the first round. So you've already got a couple weeks break. You're going to add an extra week in there? I want to play. I mean, obviously, I want to be, one of the 4 seeds, win the championship, like the conference championship. But I'd want to play.
So I have a question. Like, say, I'm trying to see which team will have that kind of scenario. Like let's say like Tennessee, for example. Let's say Tennessee wins out, and I gotta look at the SEC stands, kind of really get this.
Tennessee wins out, they play in the SEC championship.
Yeah, they're top of the conference. So yeah,
they probably play Texas.
So for example, let's say if I'm Texas, because I think even if Texas loses the Texas A&M, I think they're still gonna be in. But let's say if I'm Texas, and at the end of the season, you get to that Texas A&M game, and that game is going to determine if you go to the SEC championship. Should you lose that game and just have a home game with the first round of the playoff, or should you play the extra game to get the extra bye?
I mean, you play to win the game. I mean, you're playing for a championship. Flags fly forever. I mean, you have to. That's why they go there. That's why you're wanting to win that conference champion. If you just lay down and lose that game, I don't think for one your players are going to be pissed. for two, your recruits, like, if that comes out like, they just lost this game, because they didn't want to go to the SEC championship, they just wanted to have that bye, or they wanted to play in the first round. It's not going to be a good look. I don't think you could come out and say, we pretty much just laid it, and it's going to be a rivalry game.
Yeah, rivalry they haven't played in what, 10 years?
Yeah, there's no way they would do that.
I mean, I think I agree with you on that, but it is an interesting thought, like moving forward this playoffs. Was I think they're gonna figure out some loopholes. I think like extra conferencing schedule will kind of eliminate that to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 2 or 3 weeks of not having a game, so your guys will be, a little bit more rested. Obviously they're still practicing.
Yeah, but it's also the fear of, like, say if your quarterback gets hurt, because that's what kind of like right now, like that's kind of dictating like who's good and who's not, like to a certain degree. Like there's some exceptions to that, like Notre Dame, like having really good defense, but when to miss out having like one of your best players get hurt, and like okay, you play the rival game, but come to playoff, he's not available for the playoff. The game's actually.
I don't think you can go into it playing scared. I mean, you can't go in, but hey, we're not going to play our star player who's getting $10 million NIL because we don't want to get him hurt. He hasn't been hurt all season. If he's coming back from an injury, maybe that's something we discussed. Texas would still have Arch Manning, so they'd be fine.
Fine. All right, I guess my second question for you would be, this probably regarding like the Big Ten and not the Big Ten, ACC and the Big 12. I know you mentioned this earlier, but you think any of those conferences is going to have more than one team in the playoff?
The ACC or the Big 12?
Yeah, or any scenario where they can get at least 2 teams in the playoffs? Because, well, what they go ahead, sir.
BYU wins out their end.
Yeah. So for my listeners, or for people to listen to this or watching this, so with the Big 12, like the scenario, I guess I'll come up with mine. The thoughts would be if BYU handled their business in the regular season, and the other team would be Colorado.
Kansas State
wins out.
One of those two are in.
Well, I think it's Colorado that's leading the conference right now, or that's in second place because they have that head-to-head with Kansas State.
Kansas State beat them.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Who told me different? Oh, no. Let me do that.
Yeah. Kansas State, it was 20-17, and they won by 3.
I was reading that Colorado controls their destiny. But yeah, but Kansas State has 2 conference losses.
Oh, I was just telling you.
Yeah, they did beat them. Kansas State has 2 conference losses. So right now it's BYU and Colorado. So Colorado wins out, they're in. And if BYU wins out, they're pretty much in. Or even if they lose one game, they'll still be in. Which I haven't really looked at. So
yeah, I don't think either one of them. If BYU loses, that's the only way they would get. Or I think they can only get one in. Colorado's remaining schedule not great. They have Utah this week. They don't have a whole lot to help boost their profile. Kansas State, same. I don't think there's a whole lot in the Big 12 other than those 3 teams. BYU is going to lose. I just have a feeling they're going to lose one.
Yeah, to me, I think the game they might trip them over is really going to be the Arizona State game. Arizona State is not really that bad. They're also 7-2, which is kind of mind blowing given how bad they were last year.
I don't think the Big 12 can get one in. I don't think they can get more than one in.
Yeah, I think the conference champion is probably going to be it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the college football playoff, you're hoping that team is Colorado just because of the viewership that Dion will bring, and just the storylines, obviously. On the ACC narrative,
I don't. SMU's remaining schedule is Boston College, Virginia, Cal.
Yeah.
I don't see that boosting any potential for them to like get higher ranked. To if they were to play Miami and lose. Miami, on the other hand, has Wake and Syracuse.
Yeah.
Also, not gonna boost your. So I don't think unless there's a lot that goes on in front of them for SMU. Like if Georgia loses, Bama loses to like Auburn, there would have to be some help. Mississippi State somehow finds a pulse and beats Ole Miss.
Yeah.
There has to be help ahead of
Vandy
them.
Clips, Tennessee, maybe. They definitely they definitely need some help. I think.
So I think one for both of those conferences. I mean, unless you consider Notre Dame an ACC school because they play 6 of them.
Yeah. No, I'm treating them independent in this scenario.
But yeah, so then I think one is all you're gonna get.
Yeah, my thoughts were My only other thought this is still even with that being happening, they still need a lot of help, which means you still need like a lot of teams to help them out. Maybe Clemson sneak in and say if they can have a solid win over South Carolina, and they'll probably still need at least 2 other teams. Like Georgia will definitely have to lose, which would be kind of hard to have Georgia over them because Georgia beat them head to head and blew them out.
Clemson has Pitt, Wofford, or the Citadel, one of those in-state schools, and then Carolina left. Not a lot left for them to help boost that because I mean you're still talking they'd have to get around 10 with the Group of 5 and the Big 12.
Yeah.
I don't think they would get that again unless Louisville, Washington State, Colorado, Kansas State. I mean, there'd have to be a lot of teams that would lose ahead of them. So I'm not saying it's not possible. It's not plausible.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Let's see who else I got. We point to. I'm pretty sure Boise's is kind of sure in. Yeah. They kind of play with their food in Nevada. But I don't really see. Let's see. Look at Boise's schedule right quick.
Yeah, I was pulling up.
I don't really see no one else beating.
Yeah, so they have San Jose State, which I don't think should pose a problem.
Well, San Jose State could put up points.
Actually,
they should have a pretty good offense.
Wyoming.
Wyoming's not beating them.
Oregon State, the last game of the year for.
I think they'd be. I think San Jose State's their best end of the game, and then if they win out, they'll play Colorado State. If Colorado State or Canada Business, who's somehow undefeated in the conference.
Yeah, I just don't think anybody can do it. I mean, Oregon beat them by 3, so I trust Boise State a little bit more than I do like a BYU.
Well, it'd be a fun. This would be absolutely hilarious if it were to happen. If Army was somehow to beat Notre Dame, that's where it would get kind of like, all right. Because the only other scenario I could see, let's say BYU loses, and let's say Colorado trips up somewhere. Now you have the Big 12, maybe Kansas State sneaking up there, but you have like the Big 12 potentially being ranked lower than Army, and Army gets that win over Notre Dame.
Doesn't matter.
So that would be like, because don't forget, it's the highest 5 group of 5. It's the highest 5 conference champions.
Yep.
They get those automatic berths. That would be. I mean, that's all nuclear. I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think Army matches up talent wise with Notre Dame.
Well, but Army doesn't match up well with anybody talent wise. It's all scheme.
It's all scheme. But they put up the points. Then the quarterback got hurt too, so they'd be kind of like as dominant as they were early on. It's not. I would be vastly surprised if they can upset Notre Dame. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I don't defense. Notre Dame's just really strong.
Okay. All right. With that, let me see. Look at with the upcoming games this week. I guess the next question is, what's the game you're looking forward to, or any game you think can cause a little chaos?
Always the next game, so what I'm looking forward to. I really want to watch the not the Old Miss Georgia, but the Georgia Tennessee game. I think Georgia could get eliminated. I think Beck got paid his $3 or $4 million for NIL. Got his Lambo. Got one of the Miami basketball sisters, and has become hot garbage. I don't know what happened to that man, but it's their whole team has just been bad. He can't keep the ball. He's fumbling it. He's throwing picks. Any way he can get rid of it, he's accomplished it. So that's what I'm interested in to see how Georgia does against Nico. I guess maybe a little bit of this Missouri Carolina. That's one. I mean, that's the only other ranked game this week because who wants good matchups in November?
All right. That's a. I mean, I know they're both kind of on the outside of the playoff game, but that's definitely an elimination game for any shot at the playoff between those two.
I just don't think either one of them get in. Even if they went out, I just don't think they could get in.
I would be. South Carolina would need a lot of help to get in.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, they get help. Yeah, but I mean, they just need
just winning out and everything stays the status quo. Yeah, I'd be surprised unless something, which can happen in college football. You know, it's not always lock and key. Yeah. I think the chaos is going to happen at 10:15 at night.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're talking about BYU and Kansas.
Yeah, because Kansas, I know their record's like 3-6, but the last couple of games, their offense is finally kind of clicking. And had BYU look against Utah, which I know is a rivalry game, so you kind of got to count that in fact. But I know, I mean, Kansas has been pretty competitive the last at least two games to K-State and Iowa State, which are both ranked teams. And they have an opportunity to play spoiler against either BYU and Colorado in the next 2 weeks. So,
who does Colorado have on?
They're playing, I believe, Utah.
Yep, it's a noon kickoff in Colorado.
Yeah,
early kick for those guys.
that's crazy. That's
Utah, I don't think Utah can do it without Cam Rising. They just haven't looked great again this year. But he'll be back for his 19th year of college football next year.
Yeah, right.
Man's should have graduated the same year I did, but I think Colorado wouldn't have a problem. Wake in North Carolina, see who fires their coach first. UAB, I'm surprised Trent Dilfer has not been fired yet.
Yeah, wait till the end of the year. Actually, North Carolina's been pretty hot, man, the last couple of games.
Yeah, their defense is still. I mean, I guess watch those because it's probably Mac Brown's goodbye games because I don't think they could bring him back. Kansas State, Arizona State. I know you mentioned Arizona State earlier. That would be an interesting game. Nebraska, Southern Cal. Yes and no.
Yeah, that's probably Lincoln Riley. Like, if he loses that game, and you think his job?
I don't know who they'd go get. Who are they going to get? That's the problem.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, LSU, Florida. Maybe if Lagway can play.
Yeah, it's, I think Purdue can upset Penn State. I'm just kidding, but 28.5 point favorites.
I don't see that one. Cal Syracuse. Yeah, that'll be a fun one. Um, Mercer and Alabama. That you can watch all of Mercer's future first round picks.
Good old SEC schools playing FCS schools in November.
Yeah, well, they'll do it again here in 2 weeks too.
You gotta love it.
The Pitt Clemson game. I'm interested. That obviously as a Clemson fan, but Clemson's just been out coached the last 2 weeks. Last second half last week they kind of turned it around, but our field goal game, thanks to Florida State, has been very bad. Had 5 blocks since week 6. So
Man, really?
yeah. Virginia Tech's points came off of a blocked field goal in the first half, and then they had a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, we've been terrible on blocking on the left side. Like I said, it's a rough week, man.
Yeah, this is what kills you in college football. We're like, God, you shouldn't have a week like this late in the season. Like this should be a week 1 week.
I think this is worse.
Yeah,
everybody's playing.
I was playing, like, especially when you're trying to determine playoff seeding, and this is the kind of week you got to kind of give it. Like,
UCLA, Washington, yay!
Yeah, that's on Friday night.
Yeah, tickets as low as $10. I mean,
they got other things to do in Seattle, man.
Clearly, it's probably raining.
It's cold.
Oh well, yeah, it's definitely
winter's coming. For it. Well, we're gonna leave it at that then. I'm gonna try to have a potential reaction. I guess none of these games. I might do a reaction show Saturday night. We'll see how I'm feeling and what I'm doing. I'm really gonna plan.
Yeah, we'll see how you're feeling. All right.
You see how I feel about then. I ain't gonna make any promises.
You don't, call us again in the chat like you did in the message the other night.
Oh, I forgot I did that. We'll leave that on. That didn't happen. I don't know where.
Oh, it 1,000% happened because I answered it.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Yeah.
I told you?
Yeah. I hung up on you.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have. I was going to bed, man. I'm old.
That was late too. That was at least what.
Let's say you older than me, but I'm old.
Well, that being said, we're gonna enjoy this
last couple weeks, man.
Last couple weeks, man. It's a fast season. For me as a football fan, at least in the college level, I'm glad to get this season over with.
I bet you are at 1-9.
As a Florida State Fire, the offense coordinator, the defense coordinator, and the wide receivers coach, which is wild because I don't know if you read. Was it Keon Coleman who was the receiver that got drafted?
Oh yeah, it came out and just said, "Everybody, don't go there.
Don't go there."
Don't go there.
Which is wow. Let me say this a little bit before we go. So I was talking in the group chat with not a group chat, in the Florida State Facebook group.
Yeah,
with some people, dude. In the last 10 years, which I know Florida State has not been like what they usually are over the last course of the last decade. For the most part, but it's still a wild stat for a school that's based in Florida. They have only sent 3 wide receivers in the draft in the NFL. It was Alden Tate was the most recent. I think it was 2017, 2018 as a 7th rounder. Rashad Green as a 5th rounder in 2015. Then Kelvin Benjamin as a 1st rounder back in 2014 or 14.
You're not including transfers. I'm assuming it was like Johnny Wilson. And,
yeah, like players that actually recruited.
Yeah,
and
Keon.
Stuff. Yeah,
gotcha.
Like it's like they actually develop, not like a transfer portal player. Like that's pretty wild, like a pretty wild stat.
Yeah, especially
for like a program that's supposed to be kind of premier, at least with the ACC. Do better, Florida State, Mike Norvell. Like I know you're not gonna get fired because $65 million is too much to pay for that school, given the fact they're in a lawsuit with the conference and like they're doing renovations to their stadium, all this. But I don't know. This is probably the worst season for a team that was ranked in the preseason top 10 to go 1-9. Like I'm scared can they even beat Charleston Southern next week?
I can only hope not.
Who's 2 wins in the FCS level?
Hey, the party in Charleston would be amazing.
I will go party with the Christians up there. I was like, oh man, God done. That would be horrible. But be wishful, and worst case, if Norvell has interest in an NFL job as offense coordinator, hey Prime, come holler at your boy.
I'm interested to see what happens next year when uh, Sanders and Hunter are gone from Colorado. Yeah, everybody's like, oh, they recruit so well.
No, they don't recruit.
Do
That's all
they?
transfer portal.
And their portal's not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
Sure,
What?
they have the number one portal because they take 50 fucking people.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing though. You don't have to be that great if you're in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You just have to win the conference. Like, I mean, the Big 12 is just a bunch of. I mean,
There's
not the.
nobody in the Big 12 anymore.
Yeah, there's nobody in the Big 12. Like, there's no brand. Like, how many? Like, you probably can take what 16s or 17s of the SEC, and maybe another 4 out of the or the Big 10, and put them in the Big 12. They'll win the conference.
I mean, Kansas State, BYU, and Colorado are
Your best 3. And Colorado's flawed. I mean, they almost lost. I mean, not the knock because Colorado has improved, but also like it's. I would give them the fact that Shador's and Travis Hunter, who's probably the Heisman favorite right now.
Yeah, easily.
Like are the difference makers because they're just that elite of a players. But other than that, like it's like no one's threatening that conference.
You take those 2 out. Hell, you take Travis Hunter out. I don't think they compete.
No, that's a 6 or 7 team at best.
At most, and that's in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's in the Big 12. Like they're in the SEC, they're probably winning 2 or 3 wins.
What do they do next year? That's what I'm interested to see.
That's gonna be interesting. I think to me is either I'm not gonna say I'd be surprised. I'll be in my things of rankings of things that possibly could happen. I think the third thing that could happen or would be the most likely to happen would be he would stay at Colorado. I think he would either go to the NFL or he's going to take another job at a Power 5 school that's in the South or that at least has the funds. If he makes the playoff with Colorado, which means he needs to win the Big 12 to do it, which means he has to win out. Like someone's going to offer him a job.
But who? Who's going to have an opening? North Carolina? North Carolina's not going to do that. They're too academic.
No, I don't think they are, man. I think they're.
Look at their history. Don't see it. North Carolina's too conservative.
Not North Carolina. Well, my first thought would be Florida, but I think Florida's just.
No, they've already said they were keeping him.
They're keeping him. What's in the SEC?
Mississippi State?
Huh?
Mississippi State?
No, he won't take that job.
Ole Miss is not going anywhere.
Maybe Auburn?
They just brought back. I don't think they get rid of them after 1 year.
This is the second year.
Is it?
Yeah. It depends how they finish.
Oklahoma?
Maybe. That would be one potentially. Because don't forget, I mean, he coached a high school ball in Texas and Dallas, outside of Dallas.
Yeah, I think that's probably the lower of the 3 as he goes to Group of 5
or Southern Cal.
Maybe.
Primetime LA. Cali.
God, I can't turn him off enough already.
He'd be on ESPN every day, bro.
I don't pay for cable anymore. I'd have to cut Bleacher Report off and everything. I think his likelihood is either goes to the NFL or he's recruiting another quarterback out of the portal. I think that's more likely to try to get like a Lagway or somebody like that in the portal. Because he's going to have a star.
Oh, yeah, for that program, definitely. Because I'll be surprised. Like, I don't think Colorado's going to be competitive after this year. Like, they had a good run the last 2 years as far as, like, notoriety, but they definitely are not recruiting at the level to saying, like, Florida State is a prime example of the transfer portal going wrong. Which is kind of crazy because, like, even as much people like to blame the transfer portal with Florida State right now, I'm like, dude, majority of those players are recruited. They're playing right now. It's
Yeah.
just, I
Here,
think
I'm
it's
trying
a
to.
lack of development. Like I think a lot of people are saying, like, which is my viewpoint. Even last year, like I came on this podcast and said this last year that, like, even with how good that defense were, I did not like our defense coordinator because I was like, he doesn't adjust mid game. I think he just has really good players that are just better than the players in front of him. And guess what? He's not there anymore.
So Colorado has 10 commits for 2025. Now take it, they're gonna. This is the high school kids
Yeah.
ranked 78th. They have
No.
no quarterback.
And what's their best player rank?
192. He's the only one that is ranked.
Oh, damn. Really?
4-star offensive lineman, and then they have another 4-star receiver, and then another 4-star receiver, and then it goes to 3 stars. But I don't think they're who's the quarterback. Nobody's got playing time other than Shadur unless he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I'm trying to pull up and see if they even pulled one in 24 because they got to get somebody. He's not coming back next year unless Dion just says no. He's not going to Cleveland or Carolina. My kid's not going to play there.
But he's a senior, right?
I didn't think he was.
I think he's a senior. Let me double check that. Let's have a check that. It's not good. Look at the roster.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, he's a senior.
Oh well, they got nothing at quarterback because I'm looking. They had no transfers at quarterback. Oh, actually, they did. A 6'7" Walter Taylor III from Vandy.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
And then they had a 6'3" Destin Wade from Kentucky. That I don't think those two are getting it done.
No, they probably need a little more than that, definitely.
So I don't see it. Especially without Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, huh.
I mean, think about it. Travis Hunter's 10% of their team.
Yeah.
I mean, man plays 9% of guys on offense, and then 9% of the guys on. So shit, maybe he's 18.
He played 100 and what?
107 snaps.
100 was it 30 or 60?
I don't remember.
No, it was like 130 snaps. I was like, that is wild. I mean, yeah, props to him.
Here's a question before we go: does he do it in the NFL?
No.
What does he play? Receiver or corner? He's not a big dude now.
He's not a big dude, but he's pretty crazy athletic.
Oh, he's super athletic. I'll give you that, but he's not.
But he's not like I mean, he's not like I wouldn't put him like a Calvin Johnson or anything like that.
No, he's no Megatron.
He would probably make more. A lot of this is also depends who drafts him, but he would probably make more money playing corner. Because as far as like, I mean, well, honestly, probably argue make more money playing wide receiver because all wide receivers get paid regardless of how good they are. But
they say he's 6'1".
6'1", let's say, so roughly it's probably about 6.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He might be 5'11" and a half.
Yeah.
With cleats, everybody's at least 6'1".
Yeah. I'd probably say he played corner because it's hard to find shutdown corner.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
NFL. Like that's rare than like a really good wide receiver. You can scheme a wide receiver pretty good, but corner, like they're gonna once you have a shutdown corner, that gives a lot of flexibility. And those guys kind of make just as much money as a top receiver nowadays.
Easily the hardest position to play.
Yeah, it's the hardest position to play. I played corner. That shit fucking sucked.
That was 47 years ago when Nick was
back on skinny
and
stuff. Like it's like, for my listeners, like, yeah, imagine running against someone that has a 4.3 speed and you're backpedaling.
Yeah. No, I'm
But
good.
I wasn't bad. I wasn't great, but I wasn't bad. All right, man. I wrap it up right here. I'll let you go. I know it's about to go 99 for you. I'm going to hold you longer. Once again, this is Campus Odds and Ends. Please check us out. Hopefully, I'll have a reaction show Saturday. Keep it posted on social media. Thanks, Matt, for joining.
Always.
Because we can't rely on those other two guys.
Yeah.
At least I get Ryan pass. He was sick, but
Yeah, he was doped up.
doped up. We don't promote substance abuse here, guys.
Yeah. He also has to wake up at like 3 a.m. So.
Yeah, but this is Campus Odds and Ends. Please check us out. Give us a follow on all social media platforms. He's Matt. I'm Nick. We out ya. Deuces. Sir.
Gotta get an outro too.
Yeah, outro.